doghouse. Time to face the sound.
Welcome to the doghouse where the strong survive. By tearing down the walls, no compromise. No filter, no mercy, just a cold hard truth. We're the ones who bite, and we're waiting for you. Welcome to the doghouse where the strong survive. We're tearing down the walls, no compromise. No filter, no mercy, just a cold hard truth. We're the ones who bite, and we're waiting for you. Welcome to the doghouse where the strong survive. We're tearing down the walls, no compromise. No filter, no mercy, just the cold hard truth. We're the ones who bite, and we're ready for you. Locked and loaded, the truth's our ammo. We're breaking down the doors, no more shadows in the doghouse. It's all or nothing, we're here to fight. No bluffing, no running. Locked and loaded, the truth's our ammo. We're breaking down the doors, no more shadows in the doghouse. It's all or nothing, we're here to fight. No bluffing, no running. No running, no bluffing, no running. No running, no running, no running. We don't back down, we stand our ground. In the doghouse where the real are found. No change, no fear, just pure aggression. We're here to win, no second guessing. No second guessing. This is the doghouse, time to face the sound. Welcome to the doghouse, where the strong survive. We're tearing down the walls, no compromise. No filter, no mercy, just the cold hard truth. We're the ones who fight, and we're ready for you. When the truth's our ammo, we're breaking down the doors, no more shadows in the doghouse. It's all or nothing, we're here to fight. No bluffing, no running. Locked and loaded, the truth's our ammo. We're breaking down the doors, no more shadows in the doghouse. It's all or nothing, we're here to fight. No bluffing, no running. We don't back down, we stand our ground in the doghouse where the real are found. No change, no fear, just pure aggression. We're here to win, no second guessing. No second guessing. This is the doghouse, time to face the sound.
This is the doghouse. Time to face the sound.
This is the doghouse, time to face the sound.
We don't back down, we stand our ground in the doghouse where the real are found. No chains, no fear, just pure aggression. We're here to win, no second.
Let's go, baby. I am back and back with a mother freaking vengeance. I am excited. I hope you guys are excited. I've been wanting to jump back into streaming. It has just been a minute since the election was going on. My life's been chaotic. I had a family member pass away, so we've been dealing with that. So that's why I've been gone. But a lot has happened. So for anyone who's unaware, the election kind of took place last week, and now we're dealing with the post-election aftermath, and it's been absolutely insane. We have had picks that are absolutely not qualified, and there's been a mass migration going on from X over to Blue Sky. It will be awesome and glorious when we see a live feature on there. But anyways, guys, yeah, so we're going to jump straight into this thing. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. We're going to do some call-ins. We're going to just kind of chill out tonight, right? We're going to go through and look at some of the Trump picks and some that I think are probably some of the most egregious ones. We'll talk a little bit about the Marco Rubio plot and what they're planning on doing there with the Marco Rubio situation. And we'll be talking with you, chat. We'll also be doing some call-ins. We'll be streaming for probably about an hour, hour and a half. So not super long tonight, but guess what? Tomorrow we will be streaming again. We're trying out a new schedule. I was supposed to do it earlier this week, but again, life got a little crazy, just couldn't do it. So I apologize for that deeply in advance. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into some of my thoughts on these Donald Trump picks. I want to give you kind of my take on where I think things are going in this country. Where do I think things are heading currently? And what do I think about the election? So let's start all the way back at last week. Let's talk about this narrative that there was a red wave. The fact is there was not a red wave. The fact is that Republicans actually did about average and Democrats did actually a little bit better than was expected, given the fact that Kamala Harris is running on about 3 months. I think she did pretty phenomenal. You could see in key races that she actually there was very razor thin margins. We'll go ahead and look at those real quick, actually, by the way, because that's one of the first things I want to jump into is looking at some of these election results, because we're finally getting to the final tally of these right now. For anyone who's been living under a rock, Republicans have managed to retain the House, or retain the Senate, and gain the House as well. So they are in what's called a trifecta, but they only won the House by a thin margin. They're like right on what they need. The Senate, they're over by 2 seats. But the thing is that they're doing a recount in Pennsylvania for that Senate seat in Pennsylvania, which may or may not thin that margin. Let's go ahead and look at these presidential election results real quick. Presidential election results. So let me see here. Pull this up here. Continue. Once we do the ad blocker. I also got a new computer, so some things might be a little bit wonky, whether it be my bot. I don't even know if my bot works right now, to be completely honest with you. Let's see. Okay, see, it wants me to. This is where I'm working out the kinks right now in real time. Let's see. Trying to sign in. Trying to sign in. Oh, I already have an account. God dang it. So right now, I'm trying to sign in. See, this is what happens when you buy a new computer or you get a new computer. You end up having some of these. Oh, come on. Might be this. So we were just about to get into this, but I'm unable to. There we go. Try to log into my Twitch chat so I'm able to chat with you guys. All right. Cool. Now I should be able to see everything. So let's go that. There we go. All right. So it works. Thank goodness. I was trying to get my bot over here to work, but I wasn't sure if it was going to work. Okay. We're back in business. So let's go ahead and disable this ad blocker here. Let's see. Continue. Oh, come on. I was on this site. There we go. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the presidential race here. Pull up the web source here so you guys can see. So, oh, that is not what I'm looking for. I want president. There we go. All right. So this is what I want to look at. When we talk about, is there a red wave or was there not? There was a red wave if you want to look at it from the perspective of the fact that Donald Trump took both the House and the Senate. The reality is that it wasn't a red wave in the sense of the popular vote. And this is what I've been trying to tell people. So one of the things you'll notice here is Donald Trump is up by 76 million to Kamala's 73 million. He has only a 2% margin in the lead right now. So something I want you to take a look at is right here in Pennsylvania, he only won it by about 2.8%, or a total of about 100,000 votes. That's not a wave to me. It's not a wave to me. That's a swing state. We can look at Michigan. He won that one by a little over, what is that? 1.4%. He won it by 1.4%. 100,000 votes. Doesn't look like a red wave to me now, does it? Right here, we can look at this one. He won Wisconsin by 0.8%. 0.8%, guys. Look at the margin here. We're talking about a 39,000 vote margin. Not much of a red wave. Where are a bulk of these votes coming in from? They're coming in from Texas. They're coming in from places like Florida. Look at these. Look at these margins. They're insane. Now, here's the other thing is that this is why this number looks like a red wave, but in reality, it wasn't. And if you look at what happened in 2020, I don't have it pulled up here, but in 2020, he got about 74 or 75 million votes. So versus in 2020, obviously Joe Biden did 80 million, but I think there are certain circumstances that happened in 2020, such as we can look at COVID. We can look at the fact that there were BLM riots that happened during June and July. We can look at some key issues that I think really rallied the base. But there was about 80 million people that turned out. And I would say Kamala Harris doing 73 million is pretty darn good. If you compare that to how Hillary did in 2016, she only did about 69 million votes. So she outperformed Hillary Clinton. So when you look at Donald Trump's historical performance, Donald Trump has done meh. He's done on average. We can look at Arizona. Arizona is another interesting one. This one, Trump did take pretty handedly by about 200,000 votes. In Nevada, he took that one pretty good too by, but I mean, the percentage is large, granted, but if you look at the votes, he only won that one by about 47,000 votes. So that's really interesting to look at. And there's nothing to say as well. I mean, we can even look at how the margins were. I believe it was Georgia. Yeah, Georgia was pretty close as well. Look at this one. He only won that state by about 120,000 votes, or approximately, what is that, 2.2%? 2.2%. So when I expect a landslide, I don't expect it from this number up here. Although that is fine, I get it. I'm willing to accept that, and I want to make this clear. I'm okay, and I'm accepting the fact that Donald Trump won. None of this is to deny that fact. What this is to say is that this was not a landslide victory, okay? It wasn't a red wave, okay? We can look at another thing. This is where it gets really, really interesting the more that you drill down into these numbers. In the Senate, we see that Republicans have 52 seats where Democrats have 47 seats. There's actually a total of 50, to get the majority in the Senate, you have to have over 50. Well, they managed to get 2 extra seats, and right now California still has. That was the other thing I wanted to mention too in the president thing, is when you go to the president's results, California is 90% in, which means Kamala Harris will still probably gain about no more than like 500,000 votes if I'm being generous. It's probably being over generous, but I wanted to mention that as well. Here in the Senate seat, there's one that's still being counted, and it's this race right here. This is probably one of the most important races right now. What's going on, Marky? So if we look at Pennsylvania, McCormick is only up by 0.4%. Tell me how that's a red wave. That's not a red wave. We can look at Michigan, okay? Donald Trump this is the interesting thing about this, is a lot of people will point to the presidency and say, look, see, it's a red wave. Calling you Marky from now on? Hey, yeah, do it, bro. What's up, Wes? So the thing is people will look at like Michigan and say, well, Donald Trump won Michigan. Clearly it's a red wave. Well, that's not what the Senate race shows. In fact, in the Senate, we see that Slotkin won the Senate by about 0.3%. That's how close this was. in Wisconsin. I'm doing well, Wes. Thank you. Baldwin won by about 0.9%. So when we talk about a red wave, this is not a red wave. This is a red trickle, if anything. Look at Arizona. Gallego won against Lake. Gallego won against Lake, and pretty handedly. Now let's go back to the president. Let's look at Arizona here. Trump won by about 280,000 votes. No, sorry, 180,000 votes. About 180,000 votes, or 6 point something another percent, 6.5%, or 5.5%. But look at the Senate. MAGA lost. MAGA lost in Arizona. We see this. Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada. All over the board, Republicans lost in the Senate. And what you'll notice here is that I don't know if it says flip 3 seats plus 3 net gain. I believe Democrats took over some seats as well. Now there is a governorship here that I want us to look at. I don't know if it'll show up by, yes, right here. Look at this in North Carolina. This is one of the ones that were supposed to be looked at. Trump won North Carolina, but if you look at the governorship, Stein won pretty by wide margins, about 14% total. Okay. Let's look at the House. This is an interesting one as well. Look at this. Flip 7 seats. Flip 7 seats. That's a red wave. That's a red wave. This is not a red wave. Tell me how this is a red wave. So when MAGA gets really excited about this, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And like I said, I mean, you look at this, it's just, yes, a lot of people point out all these red districts. That's great. Okay. But they don't make up the majority of America. This is all landmass. Look at Nebraska. Nebraska's entire district is the entire state. So it's important to note that we still have some districts that are still being voted on right now. We see that there's a district in California that right now is leaning Republican, but even then, only up by 1%. And this one's 85% in. As I bet you this is the, nope, there's still a bunch in there. Maine hasn't been called yet, but they're up by about 2,000% for Democrats there. So we can assume Democrats are heading that way. I don't know if Democrats are going to take this. Trump appoints the control of all aspects, scaring the crap out of me. Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second, Mark. But yeah, so I wanted to debunk that narrative that there was a red wave. The fact is that there was not a red wave, and that is just that. So let's go on to the next one. And I want to mention this before I go on to the next one. I saw a lot of people on TikTok saying, well, Doghouse, clearly it's a red wave. We could just look at all the red. Yeah, it annoys me. It annoys me. And I've seen some people, and I want to mention this as well. This is my transition into talking about the appointments. What can we do as Democrats moving forward? What can we do as Democrats moving forward? You heard that right. I am now self-branding myself as a Democrat. I have officially moved over. I am done with the Republican Party. Is Doghouse a bit quiet on your stream? Here, let me go ahead and crank this up a little bit, okay? What's up, Steven? What's up, buddy? I know you're going to call. Listen, I know you're disappointed in me. I know you are. Here, let me crank up my volume a little bit. You this thirsty for clout? Nah. We the Democrats, it's happened. Yeah. No, I'll explain. And this goes into some of the appointments that I've seen. This goes into some of the rhetoric, some of the cult-like behavior, so to speak. But that's where I stand. I am pretty much moved over. I usually like to have someone else confirm volume issues. Just in case, yeah. No, you're good. I've increased it a little bit to provide some of that room. So, yeah. Some of these appointments have been really disappointing. No pun intended. I'm not a fan of them. We have seen what's clearly being done is that Trump is looking for loyalists. Trump is clearly looking for somebody who will kiss the ring, so to speak. And Donald Trump is not looking for who's best for the country, because if he were, he certainly wouldn't be appointing these people and wouldn't be appointing these people to these positions. And I can talk about that in just a minute. Let's start with this. Let's start with RFK Jr. So RFK Jr., for anyone who's unaware, was an environmental lawyer for most of his life, right? And what doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me is why RFK Jr. is now been named officially the Secretary of Health and Human Services, but has not been named head of the EPA. And in fact, we have people, the secretary for the EPA, and we'll see if we can pick apart some of these picks. The head of the EPA is an environmental or climate change denialist, someone who doesn't really believe in climate change, doesn't really believe in any of that, and has voted against climate change measures. So why would it make sense if you're trying to put people in the position that they best fit? Why would you put RFK Jr. in that position? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So let's go ahead. I see if I can find a graphic. I believe I had one up. Let me see if I have one. I have a whole bunch of articles we can go over here. Let's start with this one. This was the most controversial one. This is the one I think that a lot of people one of the most controversial figures right now for the Trump appointments is two figures that I feel like have gone under the radar. And that is let's start with Stephen Miller. Let's go ahead and watch one of his. So I want to preface this. This is from the Madison Square Garden. One of the things that really irritated me about this rally was nobody covered the entire rally. Me and Wes, who are in chat right now, watched this entire rally unfold, and the media covered about that much of the rally. Did not cover very much at all, and that's something that really frustrated me to no end. So seeing that they didn't cover it, and they only covered like the Tony Hinchcliffe stuff, it was very frustrating. This was something that they could have easily ran on. Let's listen to what Stephen Miller had to say about immigrants. Let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. All right, let's see. There we go. All right, let's watch this.
For a minute, about the decades of abuse that has been heaped upon the good people of this nation. Their jobs looted and stolen from them and shipped to Mexico, Asia, and foreign countries. The lives of their loved ones ripped away from them by illegal aliens, criminal gangs.
I want to preface this. So he's saying illegal aliens and criminal gangs. I hope you guys heard that. Let's back up this a little bit.
Heaped upon the good people of this nation. Their jobs looted and stolen from them and shipped to
Their jobs looted and stolen from them.
Mexico, Asia, and foreign countries. The lives of their loved ones ripped away from them by illegal aliens, criminal gangs, and thugs who don't belong in this country.
Thugs that don't belong in this country.
I'm not just saying that. You've read the stories. It happens every day. You read one of these heartbreaking headlines. Who's going to stand up for our daughters? Who's going to stand up for the girls?
There's some very interesting parallels between how this guy talks and some other people. I'll let you, anybody who's a historian can take a look at that.
Of America, the women of America, the families of America. Who's going to stand up and say the cartels are gone, the criminal migrants are gone, the gangs are...
That was very quick. I want you to listen to that. This is very important, okay? Because not many people are picking up. Listen to this.
And say the cartels are gone, the
criminal migrants are gone.
The gangs
are... He separates these two.
Are gone. America is for Americans and Americans only.
So let's talk about this speech first and foremost. So the idea is that I want people to understand this, and we'll see this with Tom Homan. Okay, Tom Homan, when we get into him, he'll explain this very clearly. These people consider anybody who crosses the border to be a criminal. A criminal is a criminal. They don't see them in a different light. They don't see them as somebody who was, somebody who crossed the country, made a better life for themselves. That's how these people see them. And so that's the one thing I want to mention is when he says this, that is who he's referring to. When we talk about mass deportations, that is who they are referring to. And so that's why I wanted to mention that. And the idea that this is a widespread issue with crime, we could look into one of the infamous false narratives that were provided by DHS to one of the senators or House representatives or whatever it was that was showing the 133,000 like homicides or something like that, right? But just understand that 133,000 or whatever it may have been those were not, they did not decipher when those people entered the country. I believe that data was over the course of like 20 years. And when you, it fights the narrative when you see a lot of people talk about, well, 10 million people have come over the country. Well, if they've come here and there's 10 million and there's only 144,000 criminals, or let's say 500,000 if we're being gracious, then if that's the case, oh man, I didn't see my multi-stream. If that's the case, then okay, see, now I didn't see that stream pop up on X. I didn't see some of you guys' chat on X. Saint Alabik said, because they broke the law crossing the border, which is a criminal offense. This is one thing I would love to get into, because from my understanding, it is a civil offense. It is not a criminal offense. And even then, we'll get into it with Tom Homan. Sorry, guys, I didn't have my multi-stream up, so I wasn't able to see some of y'all's comments. Even then, these people who have established here, we have provided them a way to citizenship, totally should be able to be given that opportunity. And so for me, I'm not a huge fan of just knocking down someone's doors because they crossed the border. If they pass that border point, then they are still given a constitutional right to due process. That is what we deemed with our constitutional rulings. Killer Steven said, Biden 10 years ago, Obama, false. I don't know what you're talking about. If you're, and you know it, if you're talking about me saying that these are what these people believe, I will provide plenty of evidence to suggest that. So just hold on. Tom Homan actually goes into that a little bit. What's up, Peekaboo? I appreciate you coming in. Hi there. It's always the same rhetoric. Pit the poor people against those who are even poorer. Meanwhile, the rich fill their pockets. The reason why people don't have enough to live is not immigrants taking away their jobs. It's the capitalist class pitting them against each other for pay, those possible amounts of working class. Yeah, Donald Trump ran on this, right? He kind of mentioned how he did not like paying anybody overtime. We see some of the fact of that when Donald Trump won, Elon Musk was able to pad his pockets. We saw the fact that just recently, Donald Trump's stance on EVs are actually going to end up benefiting Elon Musk. We could see that with Elon Musk being in the position that is not appointed, that it is absolutely going to benefit him in the long run when it comes to, oh, interesting. It'll absolutely change. So anyways, yeah, so Stephen Miller went on and talked about this, and this is not new for Stephen Miller. I'm trying to find some more rhetoric here from Stephen that I had saved. Where is it? I thought I had it up here. It's been like a week since I ended up doing this. So I'm trying to find all the clips I had saved. So there was that one with Stephen Miller. What are these clips here? Okay. So I thought I had another one with Stephen Miller. Oh, here it is, right here. I knew I did. Okay. Go ahead and pull this one up.
It's not.
So Stephen Miller has a thing where, like, when he gets really upset, he ends up saying stuff really, really loud. So remember when Joe Biden mentioned how Trump supporters were garbage or whatever? Let's go ahead and listen to this.
I mean, that's what you're saying now. Again, people want to know what you think as they make their decisions about what to vote for. Go ahead.
They rewrote the law. Look, I care about my democracy.
This is from, I believe, a few years ago.
Every bit as much, if not more, than you.
I'm just trying to get answers from you. We're not in a personal dispute about democracy credentials. You wrote that in. You wrote that in on Pence. You played it all the way up to January 6th. You know what happened after that. A lot of other people have been convicted of crimes, Stephen. A lot of innocent people have been persecuted by a corrupt system. What kind of corrupt system throws Republican lawyers in jail for offering good, sound legal advice, but does nothing with secretaries of state who plainly violated their own state laws and constitutions? How many people are in jail right now
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the #1 traffickers of children, girls into sex slavery on planet Earth.
Okay.
How many people are in jail for that?
We've gone this far,
How
and
many
we've
people are in
gone
jail
this far
for
in an
illegal
exchange.
censorship?
We're not doing just any.
Now, keep in mind, this is nothing new. We've actually seen, and I can pull this up here. Let's see here. They have mentioned that they are potentially going to pursue criminal charges against these people. Let's see here. Yeah, I didn't save that, but there are videos out there where they have said they are going to investigate these, and if there are criminal charges, they will absolutely charge them. All right. So, thought my dog wanted out, but she didn't want out. So, yeah, so that was that. Let's go ahead and look at this next one here. There's this one here.
I have some absolutely must-watch video.
Here's our David Pakman here. Let's see. I'm trying to find the video here to watch of this.
The country are going to be the first to get thrown out of here. I mean, you've seen migrants that have been flooded.
Well done.
What will happen? All these
Day one.
all these criminal migrants that have been flooded in the country are going to be the first to get thrown out of here. I mean, you've seen case after case, these heartbreaking tragedies. Those ones are going to get found and deported first. And look at this Venezuelan gang. You have a Venezuelan gang that is taking over entire apartment buildings in Aurora, Colorado, and that's responsible, by the way, for some of the most heinous crimes that have happened all over the United States. The crime rate in Venezuela is down, I believe, a little bit over 60%.
And for anyone who's not watched this before, Stephen Miller, there's questions that are about to come from a reporter who was a pretty fresh green belt to some of these, and you'll see how he responds here.
Over the last several years,
Are you trusting the official figures from the Venezuelan dictatorship?
let's put it this way. If you're a dictator of a poor country with a high crime rate, wouldn't you send your criminals to our open border?
That wasn't my question. Are you
But
trusting the
my-
figures of the dictatorships?
Numbers.
Those are Maduro numbers.
Believing Maduro numbers.
I am believing that it is in the interest of a criminal dictator to let his criminals out of their jails and come to our
Do
country.
you have numbers, real numbers, not
I have
dictatorship numbers?
The Venezuelan gangs that have you've seen the CCTV footage. I have a question. Who do you think? Answer me
My
this.
family is from Venezuela. I know very well the situation of Caracas and many other
Right,
cities.
tell me, who were the people with the high-powered rifles in the hallway of that apartment building? Who were they?
They were gangsters from Venezuela.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, he's trying to conflate some of the crime that is taking place in some of these cities that happens amongst all of our other people. And yeah, so he's trying to conflate that to the average person who just came here and wanted to make a better life for themselves.
No American community.
But I was asking to you about figures, numbers,
What I'm saying
facts.
to you is the facts are the dead bodies. The facts are
You said that Caracas has a
facts are-
lowest crime
the
rate
facts
than the
are-
USA.
The facts are the mutilated bodies. The facts are the people in the morgues
And now he's trying to pound the table, essentially.
that are dead.
I was asking you about Caracas and the numbers in Caracas. Are you trusting the numbers of the dictatorship
I
to
am
state what
trusting
you're
the fact that Kamala Harris is
Why are you
letting
yelling?
illegal immigrants into this country who are raping and murdering children.
I had been very respectful. Why are you yelling?
Do you know who Jocelyn Ungary is? Do you know who she is?
Do you know?
He's pivoting. See, so one thing he's doing right now is instead of answering the question about is he taking the word of a dictator and running with it, he's avoiding it. Now he's trying to appeal to emotions here is what he's trying to do.
Know how
Tell me
many
who she
people
is. Who is she?
experiencing
Who is
violence
she?
in Caracas?
Who is she? Who is Laken Riley?
Why are
Who
you
is
yelling
she?
again?
Because I'm yelling because children are being raped and murdered.
I was just
by
asking for
illegal
figures,
immigrants.
and you have not
Children
replied to
are
me
being
about
raped
those
and
figures.
murdered. Do you know who Kayla
Do
Hamilton
you trust
is?
the numbers of
Do you know
Nicolas
her story?
Maduro? I'm asking
I
again.
trust a ruthless dictator will empty his prisons and send their criminals to our country.
So you trust his numbers?
So there's that right there. Yeah. So this is my issue. Let's talk about this idea of mass deportation before we get into Tom Homan, who and I want to mention this too because I forgot to mention this. When it comes to Stephen Miller, he was also the key architect of child separation policies. Don't know why my chat just like completely went kabonk. But okay, let's calm down, Wes. Let's calm down. No, I think the one thing about it is Stephen Miller was one of the lead architects when it came to child separations in Trump's first term. Well, now they've talked about mass deportations. Here is where the issues come up that I'm not a fan of. If we were only going through and deporting people who were like actual violent criminals, by all means, deport them. They shouldn't be in here. They've caused nothing but havoc. Deport them. But how far do we take that, right? This is where we need details, and we need them quickly, because Donald Trump has already mentioned that he is going to sit there. He is going to implement this policy on day one. And he's putting people into key positions, such as Stephen Miller, who I believe at this time is the Secretary of Staff. Let me see if I can pull this up, give you the exact Trump appointments list. I had it pulled up a second ago. Here's who's on the list. Where is it? Stephen Miller. So Stephen Miller is the Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. Let's see. During his first term, architected policies like a ban on travel. I forgot about that too. The Muslim ban that Donald Trump put in place. This was one of them as well. But he is the Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, and he's also in a few other different positions, like an assistant to the president or something like that. But anyways, trying to find it here. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. I'm coming in after a very busy day. I attended a funeral. I came home and I started streaming. So it's been a little bit chaotic. Where was I going with this? Oh, Stephen Miller. It's coming back to me. It's coming back to me. Come on. Come back to me. Where are we going with this? Damn it. Losing my train of thought again. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, that's what it was. Came back. Pew, thank you. So one of the issues is how far do we take the word criminal? Are we talking about people who ran through a stop sign? Are we talking about somebody who jaywalked? Who is considered a criminal under Donald Trump? The reality is as we've heard from Stephen Miller, essentially is anybody in this country illegally is considered a criminal. Now, here's how this is going to play out. Let's talk about this mass deportation. Realistically, we don't know a whole lot of details about how this is going to play out, but we'll see some kind of peeking in here, is that there are going to be states that resist. Okay. We will see states that will come out and they will fully resist these efforts, and we'll see states who just bow down. We have seen where, and we'll get into this with Tom Homan, where they said, hey, look, if you get in our way, you're not going to stop us. There's also been talks about them potentially nationalizing or not nationalizing, but deputizing the National Guard, believe it or not, which is kind of terrifying when you think about it. And so this is my thing, is that for the longest time, we've heard Republicans talk about, why do we have this? It's to defend against the tyrannical government and things like that. It's like, how is this not tyrannical? We have actually seen some rhetoric to suggest that people who were born here, birthright citizenship, they're potentially trying to revoke those as well. There are rumors of that. And so all this is to say is that what I think is going to happen is Donald Trump is going to have the House. He's going to have the Senate. My thoughts is he's going to try to implement this policy as best as he can. He is going to deputize, if he can, through the Alien Invasions Act of 1796, something like that, where he'll be able to do that because he would be able to declare war. Here's the issues. Okay, now let's get into the actually going through with this policy. You're going to have states that resist, and you have states that don't. Okay, the states that don't, here's the issue. How are they going to get these people out of here? Okay. traditionally what we do is when they cross the border, if they're not here, we bring them in, we process them, they get given a court date, and that's when the issues happen, and we then deport them if they're found or whatever, right? This is a difference between defense and offense. Now they're going on offense. They're no longer on defense. Okay. They're actually going in, and my thoughts are on this is that a lot of constitutional rights are going to be violated in this process, which is why our judicial branch is going to have to be very strong. Yeah, right. Exactly. T-Bird. So my whole thing is you're going to see several countries as well, because here's the thing: you can't just necessarily fly your plane into a country uninvited with a whole bunch of immigrants. That's just not how that works. And if a majority of these are coming from South America and they're already struggling with their economy, do you think they want a bunch more people in their country? Probably not. So you're going to face some backlash from those people. This is not going to be an easy task. If they think it is, it's insane. It's not going to be. And if you're asking me what I believe and how we should reform our immigration system, it is to reform our asylum processes. We saw some of what Joe Biden did. We could take that in place. We could put that in law if we wanted to. Right now, it was an executive order. So basically, it was a cap. Once we've reached a certain limit of people that have crossed our country or a certain number of asylum claims or something like that, we would cut off asylum. I think it was like 5,000 or something like that. Something along those numbers. I forgot. But we could put something in place like that. I would totally be for increasing our border security, funding our border patrol agents, going in and funding maybe a little bit of the wall, maybe not as grandiose as Donald Trump would want it. But sure, fund the wall if we need to. I think those are all reasonable things. And all of these things were in the bipartisan border bill, but we found out we weren't going to get that, right? So anyways, I'm breaking away a little bit from these Trump nominations. Okay. Let's get into the next one. The next one is Tom Homan. Tom Homan is going to be in charge of the border. He is now the border czar. Remember the border czar that Republicans got upset about with Kamala Harris. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is something from Tom Homan.
Well, I think.
Let's go ahead and watch this.
Look, it'd be great to have local law enforcement assist ICE, because, one thing we heard during 9/11 report was we shouldn't have stovepipes. Law enforcement should work with law enforcement. But, there's two things. Number one, under President Trump, he was suing the sanctuary cities, DOJ suing the sanctuary cities, pulling federal funds. Of course, day one, when Joe Biden came in office, he stopped that lawsuit. So that has to be put back in place. And look, I've seen some of these Democratic governors say they're going to stand in the way. They're going to make it hard for us. Well, a suggestion: if you're not going to help us, get the hell out of the way, but we're going to do it. So if we can't get assistance from New York City, and we may have to double the number of agents we send to New York City, because we're going to do the job. We're going to do the job without you or with you. But it's much easier to arrest a bad guy. Like I just said, we're concentrating on public safety threats of human and national security threats. Right. It's much easier to arrest a bad guy in the jail. Give us access to Rikers Island that we've been kicked out of. Let us get the bad guy in the jail. It's safer for the alien. It's safer for the officer. It's safer for the community. But if you're going to release these bad guys, out in the community, then we're going to have to go find them, which puts the officer at risk, puts the community at risk, and puts, and bottom line is, sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals.
So this guy wants to basically say, look, get out of the way. Basically saying, get out of the way. We're going to come through. We're just going to basically flood your city with ICE agents. So the idea of federalism is going to be gone under Donald Trump, because under federalism, they work together, right? The Fed works with the state, and the state works with the Fed. It's kind of how federalism works. Long story short of it. And so Tom Homan has been nominated as the border czar, and he is certainly going to lead some of that effort. And so this is also what we're starting to see is from Mike Davis. Mike Davis was in the running for the attorney general position until Matt Gaetz got it. Yeah, Matt Gaetz. Oh, boy. We could talk about Matt Gaetz all day long. So Mike Davis went on to say, "Dear Trump job seekers, Let me go share the screen with you guys so you can see it. T-Bird said, I can't believe the border czar Kamala Harris didn't win the election on her excellent job on the border. She actually did a pretty decent job for what she was supposed to do. Her job wasn't necessarily there at the border. It was on the Southern Triangle, in which case I believe we did see immigration or illegal immigration coming from those countries decline. I'd have to look at the numbers again to provide you the exact numbers, but that's basically what it was. So we can go back here. Dear Trump job seekers, long time no chat. Before asking me for help, I am going to ask you to provide me specific and concrete evidence of your loyalty to Trump. If you cannot provide a lot of that, stop asking me. Political appointments require both competency and loyalty. Well, here's the funny thing. The competency is about to come into play pretty handedly here. Okay. The loyalty thing, they've got all checked off. But Matt Gaetz, we'll talk about Matt Gaetz. Okay. Let's talk about Matt Gaetz. On Matt Gaetz, let's check this out. I'm going to check this out real quick for you. So anyone who's unaware, Matt Gaetz has not really practiced law much at all. So there's been some rumors of it. There's been some rumors that they're not going to nominate Matt Gaetz. And I'll tell you guys what's been going on. So there's a lot of angles here with Matt Gaetz. Okay. So anyone who's unaware, Matt Gaetz is our appointed or nominee for Attorney General of the United States. Okay. Let's go to the wiki for Matt Gaetz. Also, I want to preface this by saying that John Thune only took John Thune won the leadership in the Senate by like a bit of a margin. Let me see if I can find it here. Let's see. Trying to find the vote for John Thune. John Thune vote count. Okay, so the vote total was John Thune 23, Cornyn 15, and Scott 13. For anyone unaware, Rick Scott was the MAGA selection. Okay, and that vote was taken in private. There have been some supposed leaks that have come out, but yeah, so that's what that is. And let's take a look at our Attorney General for the United States. Okay, United States Attorney General, presumptive nominee. Let's go ahead and take a look at his background, shall we? Sounds good? Sounds good. Let's do that. So his early life and his career. He grew up near Fort Walton Beach and graduated from, and this is the other recurring thing that I don't know if anybody's seen. He nominated, I don't think anybody has seen this. I've not seen anybody call this out. I think it's very fascinating how many Floridians he's trying to nominate to his cabinet. We got Rick Scott that he was trying to nominate to the Senate leadership. We have Marco Rubio from Florida. We have Matt Gaetz from Florida. There might be a couple of others in there that I'm potentially missing. But yeah, Florida is awesome. I don't know about that. Well, I've got more coming from Florida. So, and this is along the lines of the Marco Rubio situation. So, what's his religious background? I have no idea. That's great. I look, the environment. I've been to Key West. Key West is pretty dope. I haven't been to Miami. I've been wanting to go to Miami. So anyways, he grew up near Fort Walton Beach and graduated from Niceville High School. He graduated from Florida State University in 2003 with a Bachelor of Science in Interdisciplinary Sciences and from the William and Mary Law School in 2007 with Juris Doctorate. Gaetz was admitted to the Florida Bar in 2008. Gaetz' father represented parts of North, a member of the Florida State Senate from 2006 to 16 and was Senate President from 12 to 14. Gaetz' grandfather, Jerry Gaetz. This is nothing I'm really concerned about here, but you can see that his family comes from a long line of politicians. The religion is often included in the early life section and can make for an interesting read. Not really. After graduating from William & Mary Law School, Gaetz worked at the law firm Keefe, Anchors, and Gordon for Fort Walton Beach. In October 2021, the Florida Bar suspended Gaetz from practicing law due to unpaid fees. What that tells me, if you're a lawyer and you can't pay your damn dues, probably not great. He was reinstated after the $265 fee was paid. In March 2010, after Republican state representative, Gaetz ran the special election to succeed. Where is it here? He was reelected unopposed. Gaetz was unopposed for a full term in 2010 and 2012 following reconfiguration of Florida House of Representatives District. So he graduated. Where is it? He graduated in 2008. From my understanding, he practiced law for a couple of years. Where is it here? Florida bar suspended Gates for practicing law due to What's up, Fitzy J? You're in voice? Okay, give me 1 second. Bring you in here. All right, 1 second. Let me try to make. I'm not sure if this is going to work, so let me make sure I got all my stuff together before I bring you in. All right, you should be good. Let me go ahead and make sure you got permissions because you probably don't have permissions.
Check. 1, 2.
Yeah, you're loud. All right, here we go. Let me bring you down a little bit. All right, say something. Oh, hold on 1 second. Oh, my bad. I have had push talk on. Let me go turn push talk off. All right. Can you hear me now?
I can indeed hear you, Doghouse. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, man? What you want to talk about? What you brought it? What'd you jump in for?
Well, first, I want to apologize for calling you a low IQ troglodyte. I'm gonna take that back.
Okay.
After a resounding victory on election night, it was a good night, but bro, do you even care about any of this shit, Doghouse? Like, genuinely.
What do you mean? Like, care about what?
What are you, Doghouse? What the fuck are you doing, bro?
What do you mean? What am I doing?
I am a fond supporter of President-elect Trump. Do you believe I am in a cult, Doghouse?
Depends. What do you do? Do you have okay? So I've got a thing here. Like, for example, my parents are somebody who supports Trump, but there's somebody who kind of looks at Trump in the 2016 to 2020 lens, not the post 2020 lens. And what I mean by that is like, if you're wearing a MAGA hat, going to MAGA rallies, and basically like saying that there's nothing that Trump can do wrong, then I would probably put you in that MAGA cult category. Those are the people I refer to specifically when it comes to cult. But if you're not like that and you're just chilling, you're drinking a beer and you're like, yeah, I watch Fox News when I get home, I wouldn't call you a cult member.
Why these two extreme generalizations, right? Like either a deranged cult member or just a crack a beer and watch TV normie. How about just God-loving patriots, which it really seems that Trump supporters seem to be a unison across all of these groups that you lefties, I guess I can say, if you're pretending to be a leftist now, Doghouse.
Not pretending.
A coalition of, this was a resounding victory.
Was it though?
Across all, yeah, it
well,
was,
okay,
man.
Why are you saying
the
it's a
last time
resounding?
the popular vote was won by a Republican? I mean, if we really
do you know,
pretend like we care about this.
Do you know where a majority of those popular votes came from?
Americans.
What
are you talking about?
So
Doghouse?
they came
Americans
from
love Trump, and Trump loves America.
They came from specifically. Hold on, I want to make sure I also am able to pull you up into here real quick because nobody can see who I'm talking to real quick. So let me make this adjustment. 1 second.
I'm just a guy.
Nah, you're good. I got you. Let me go ahead and bring this overlay. See, right now it's pulling in as if I'm in. Pulling in that. Let's see. Take me 2 seconds.
What do you think cults do?
They worship their dear leader, and that would be Donald Trump.
They worship leaders, like they worship the state.
Yeah, and they not only worship them. You could go to the fact that they would. You could say that there is a. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm trying to pull this up, and I'm like super distracted right now. There we go. All right.
Would you say a cult necessitates a denial of basic truth that you can see right before your very eyes, Doghouse?
Yeah, you could say that. That's probably fair.
And can you honestly look at this country and look at the past 8 years? You lived through both presidencies. Can you honestly say that conservative Americans are the ones being denying what's right in front of their very eyes, Doghouse?
Absolutely.
when it comes.
Absolutely. So I can talk about, for example, we could look at the economy that a lot of people were sitting there saying was terrible. In fact, I can pull up a poll that shows the majority of Americans believe that we are in a recession, when this is just factually untrue. There is nothing that indicate that we are in a recession. Even inflation rates right now are down to 2.5%. Tomorrow, actually, funny enough, we'll be getting a new CPI rating.
Wow.
And based on the CPE rating a CPE rate that we got from last month, it should be going down. So,
You know, I believe you when you say you are a leftist, but unfortunately, Doghouse, you are the one in the cult because you are denying the truth in front of your very
What's the
eyes,
truth?
which is in your wallet. The truth that over the last 4 years, you are paying more for everything.
I'm not
When you wanna
denying that.
talk about the,
No,
so
I think we're paying
so
more.
what do
Yeah.
you talk? What is the economy? Why do you care about these polls and these numbers
Yeah.
that you seem to worship? You're saying,
Sure.
oh, like this poll, this thing says the economy is good. Well, what are you talking about? It's like your experience as an American is what people seem to think determines whether or not the economy is good. And that, I think that poll where most people think it's a recession is quite significant. And I think
No, I don't.
that response to my question of who denies the
I think
truth
that
that's
they-
right before their eyes, I think it's like
Yeah.
a rather ironic response to it, right? Because it's like the truth before our very eyes is in our wallets, dude. And you're
Yeah.
just quoting these numbers
No,
that don't
because
really
here,
mean
okay,
anything.
so no, they don't
Right?
mean
So how-
nothing.
how
They
it-
don't mean anything.
how does that work?
They don't mean anything. So to be clear, the way that this works is that when we look at inflation, we have to understand, yes, inflation is cumulative, but it's also cumulative
Answer
under
my
Trump.
question. What about what's in your pocket? Fuck inflation. What about you're spending more for everything? 25
Sure.
to 30
How
to
do we
50
fix
to
that?
100% more for everything.
How do we know?
What do
How
you-
do we know when inflation is gone down?
Listen, I'm not claiming to know the answers. I'm just saying you said the economy's not bad. I said we're paying way more for shit.
Yeah,
so
I don't
that
think the economy
probably
is that
means the
bad
economy's
right
bad. I don't have fucking polls and numbers and statistics. I'm just a guy. But if I'm paying way more for fucking everything, from my car insurance to my rent to my bills to interest rates to literally every single thing costs more money and is harder to get. I was just in the job market for 6 months. My resume is fucking good, and I was in the job market for a long time. Hard as fuck to find a job, and I got a job the day before Trump was elected. So everything that we experience says the economy is bad, but you left this. Unfortunately, you just want to quote these numbers, and it's like, dude, just go with what your eyes show you. But that's just one of many examples.
You want me
there are many,
to assess
many
the
examples.
health of the economy based on your only yours lived experience, or just my
Americans' lived experience.
Oh, okay. So Americans. So then we want to take a grouping of the Americans and we want to see how has that been going. So for example, we can go and look at these stats of jobs that were added. In fact, we've regained all of the jobs that have been lost since COVID. We've now regained those and more. So that's the thing, is you can look at your single experience and that's fine. But the fact is when we look at these numbers, we can look, for example, that gas prices have gone down from their peak about a couple of years ago. We can look at the fact that oil production is at record highs. We can look at the fact that GDP is all the way up. So I know your lived experience is that as if the economy is bad.
And many people's lived experience.
And that's fine.
That's
but
the
the reality
thing.
is completely, the reality, which you seem to, oh God, the reality is that our economy is doing good by every metric. I can't just sit here and say the economy is bad.
Well, what
because
about
of-
these metrics? What about the metric of our experience? Like, that's the whole point and why the left has been defeated so
Okay,
soundly.
let's talk about that.
Because people are suffering, and
Why are they suffering?
Just
Why are they suffering?
listen again. I don't claim to have the answer.
Okay,
I'm
well, then I'll
just saying
provide
what
the
I'm
answer.
seeing with
So
my
the
own two
reason
eyes,
why-
and we're
the
talking
reason-
about the nature of a cult. And a part of the nature of a cult, you must deny the truth that you see before your very eyes, which leftists do
Yes,
constantly.
and the right is
Their
denying the truth in front of their very eyes.
Please let me finish my point, and I'll let you talk for 10 minutes. The entire leftist position across the board is so based on you must accept it. You can't even talk about it.
you can talk
Even
about it.
discussing these things. No, you can't. You get banned for talking about the morality of homosexuality. You get banned for talking about abortion across. What do you mean where? At like most major platforms. Listen, I'm not a content creator, but it really has been the
You can
ethos of things.
absolutely, I've seen it many times take place on Twitch. You can talk about homosexuality. You can talk about any of these other
can't-
categories.
You won't be canceled everywhere for thinking homosexuality is immoral. Like, come on, dude. It's like
I haven't quite seen that.
It's just, what do you mean? You can never even fucking question it. You can't say something's gay anymore.
Who
'cause
was the
everyone's
last
so
person? Who's the
sensitive.
last person that was banned for saying something?
I don't have a list, dog. Ass.
Okay, so you
Come
don't
on,
have
bro.
that. So how can
You're
you make
right,
a
dude.
claim? This is the thing, right? Is that
I
you're
do not
making-
have the last guy who's been canceled for saying gay. You are
Okay.
correct, Doghouse.
Yeah, when to be clear, we just talked about it right here. So if I get banned, great. But I'm not going
that's
to.
not the
What
point.
will get you banned is if you start using slurs, then yes, you will get banned. But discussing those topics, generally speaking, you're not going to get banned. I've not seen anywhere that says you will get banned for
And
discussing those
the
topics.
banning is not the issue,
Okay,
but the
then what is
fact
the
that it exists, it's like why, right? Because when you scrutinize the leftist position on anything, you all just beg the question. Like you literally just beg the question that Trump is bad. You
Yeah,
just
Trump's bad.
assume he's bad, and then you just try to justify with all these insane positions. And it's like, dude, you're not tired. It's like Doghouse. What happened to the practical Doghouse?
I'm so
Do you
practical.
remember?
I'm practical in the sense that I was able
Is
to
it
see.
practical?
Yes.
Your life was better under Biden than Trump, dude. Like, come on, dude. It's like it's
Actually,
laughable.
yes. I didn't have to
You should
deal with
be-
like sitting here dealing with a new drama every single week. It was actually pretty chill.
What?
Hold on
Yeah.
one second. I got
Yeah, Wes, it's a conversation that ebbs and flows. I'll stay more on point for my debate, bros.
It's okay. So, Wes.
Yo, wait, is DH still gone?
Yeah, I'm still here. Hold on. You're freaking.
Oh no!
All right, hold on.
Oh yeah.
There we go. All right.
What's
First of
up?
all, so real quick, man, just before I get in, I don't want to bombard you because you're gonna have two leftists on you, and Wes
That's
is
good.
probably more of a leftist than I am. So I just want to make sure you're cool with it. But anyways, you're cool with it?
I'm chilling, bro.
All right, cool.
All
right.
I actually didn't plan to contribute that much. I just wanted you to stop saying leftists. It's like it is so frustrating to me every time someone describes a Democrat or a liberal as a leftist. That is not what leftism is.
Well, whatever you guys would rather be called, you know, the group of people who love abortion and homosexuality and immigration and don't really seem to like care about America and seem to like hate America. That's really who I have a problem with. I'm not really getting into the nitty gritty of politics, but the majority of Kamala voters is who I'm talking to. So I'll call them Kamalites.
Just call them Democrats. Like those are your bog standard Democrats. That's all they are. They're not leftists though. And that's all, because it bothers me so much that I would be like associated with a Kamala voter, because I'm like so much further left than that. Anyway, you guys keep talking. I'll jump in if I feel like I want to.
Yeah, Wes, you're good. Go ahead, buddy, whenever you want to. So real quick,
Like, I'm the real commie.
no, look, that's my whole thing. So one of the reasons why I shifted over to Kamala Harris was seeing some of the rhetoric coming over from the right, seeing that the Republican Party was being taken over by MAGA, not necessarily some, so seeing that. The other thing is seeing some of Trump's policies that didn't really make a hell of a lot of sense. I'm sorry, it's late. Forgive me for.
Why do
mixing with
leftists?
Yeah.
Why do Democrats love abortion? Have you
Why do
figured that out yet?
Democrats?
Yeah, in your 2 weeks as a Democrat, have you like figured it out yet?
What do
I'm
you
just
mean?
asking. Like,
well,
why do they love killing babies?
Okay, so hold on. First of all, the reason why
just scared.
is for the reason why is because that they do not like the fact that women's bodies are being controlled. Now, I understand. I'm not going to sit here and try to mitigate, because I'm not someone who really stands real hard on that position. Not saying one way or the other, but I want to be very clear that why it is such a big issue.
Don't you find it interesting that it's yeah, let's finish.
Yeah, let me explain my position here, okay? Because I'm glad you brought this up, because this is something that I just kind of been trying to dig into a little bit more on to try to form a pretty solid stance here. And one of the things is that what you'll see, and I could not answer. So I got into an argument with Jeb Tan, I believe it was the other day, and it was about abortion. And the issue is that state laws will say one thing. Okay.
I don't care about laws. What do you think as a man?
Of course.
I don't give a fuck about
okay, you're saying you're claiming that
I'm not,
part of the goal
this is not a debate. This is it's just a conversation, Doghouse. Like, what do you as a man, Doghouse,
I was just giving you my position. You're like, I don't care.
Okay.
You're saying I don't care about
sorry.
laws. Well, I'm trying to explain to you my position. Well, I understand, but I know you don't want to get in the weeds, but that's what I'm trying to explain to you. So when it comes to abortion, there are laws in place. And as a conservative, I used to argue from that stance, say, well, the laws are there. It covers medical emergencies. The problem is that the argument I could not get around, and I could not really grapple with was the idea of the chilling effect. I didn't have an answer to that. And why is that? Because of the fact that it's true. When you look at the fact of, like, say, a doctor who faces in Texas a felony, a first-degree felony for committing an abortion, which an unborn child, and that statute is defined from fertilization until birth. And if you
Fantastic.
And if an abortion is performed on an unborn child, then that and it's not medically necessary, then that doctor faces a prison sentence. And so what are doctors going to do? Medically
not
necessary.
kill babies. But what do you as a man think about abortion? Stop talking about laws and doctors.
No,
what does Doghouse as a man think about the act of abortion? Is it a moral good?
You can either
is
listen.
it bad? I'm asking. I've been listening.
I'm telling you what I think, and what I think is
You're not. You're giving me the leftist spiel.
No,
bro,
he is.
No,
it's not a leftist spiel, and that
what do you
is
think,
what
Wesley?
he's saying.
Do you think murdering? We should murder babies because.
All right, I'm gonna mute J Money so I can give my position. Okay.
I worked. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Let me go ahead and get my position, and I'll unmute J Money when I'm done giving my position, because I understand he doesn't want to get into the weeds, and that's fine. So let me explain my position. When it comes to abortion, the issue is, okay. You know what? No, I'm gonna unmute him in a minute. He's probably gonna sit here and go, "See, this is censorship." But anyways, the issue is that the laws are so strict that it causes doctors to second guess their decisions. If a woman comes in and there is some vaguity to it, they will not issue that abortion immediately, which then can cause a woman to go into sepsis, which could then cause the woman to end up passing away. And so this is one of the issues here. So this is the issue I have. And this is one of the reasons why when we look at, it's so late and my brain is so fried right now. When we look at abortion and we see all of these chilling effects, that is why I am pretty much opposed to how strict these laws are. If you want to loosen them up and you want to make it to where it's a civil penalty, maybe, right? But I can't get around that particular effect. Let me go ahead and unmute J Money. Go ahead, J Money. I unmuted you. I'm sorry. I had to do that because I want to keep
talking. Okay. You have to keep talking because you didn't answer my question. What do you, as a man, think about abortion? Like, not about laws, like is it right?
Laws are abortion in and of itself is a law. So to give you my opinion on abortion,
no,
I would have
not. It's an act.
Okay, it's an act. But why is abortion such a big issue? Let's talk about that.
It's murder.
Okay. So, but murder is a legal term, is it not?
No, it's yes, but it's also
okay. So that's what I'm trying. Okay, but it's also, so that means it is a law, which means that we have to discuss the nature of the law.
We don't, though, because from the beginning, if I ask you, what do you think about murder? Is it right or wrong? We don't have to.
I will tell you what I have said. I will tell you what I have said, and I will tell you everything. Okay.
So wait, J Money, you're 100% against capital punishment too, right?
Well, that's another discussion. Capital punishment is a punishment, right? Like, what's the difference between murder and self-defense and murder and cold blood?
But
I'm not talking about all act of taking life. I'm talking about murder. The taking of an innocent life. So I'm open to, if you want to talk about capital punishment, we can talk about it, but I'm very pro capital punishment. I think we should be killing way more criminals. Absolutely.
No, I'm cool.
I think we should kill way more criminals than babies.
I don't need to talk about that. It looks like DH just walked away for a second.
I'm back.
Oh, actually, no, it's cool then. Yeah, he can resume the conversation.
I think killing babies is wrong. I don't think it's that simple. I don't think we have to get into laws. I think it's very clear. What
should the punishment?
What women are experiencing. I don't think I have to experience it as a woman to see.
You can
what's
say
going on,
it's
the
wrong.
Miracle. I let you have your position, and you had to mute me. So please let me explain.
That's fair.
This point. Let me mansplain to you the beauty of human life. I just think it's so obvious, dude. And I think the fact that when it comes up, we have to talk about this, this specific issue where pregnancies affect women or rape, this 1% issue where the woman's life is in danger. Oh, let's make a law based on this. It's the reality, unfortunately, is the vast majority, whatever number you want to call it, it's 90 to 95% of abortions are at a straight convenience, dude. It's literally just, it's a plan C.
Can I ask you a clarifying question?
And the last thing is just yeah.
I wanted to ask you a clarifying question. When do you believe life?
Inception.
Okay, and this is my second question. And this is why I have to ask you this, because I view abortion in two lenses. There is the morality of it.
Plan B is the exact same thing as abortion. Okay, if that answers it.
That's fine. That's not what I was going to ask. I was going to ask you, what do you believe the punishment should be Because here's one thing. I could sit there and say, hey, your position is fine. But without the like, for example, if you were to say, hey, I think
a mother who murders her baby should be punished.
Okay.
I don't know what the laws is, but it's like, what the fuck? Casey Anthony should have got punished. Like,
well, that was not an abortion, but that's why I'm asking you. Go ahead.
Yeah. It was not. It was a very late term abortion. I just think it's weird, like this leftist obsession. I'm sorry I'm saying leftist, but the Democrats just obsess over this thing, and I find it very
You brought this up, to be very clear. To be very clear, you brought this up.
Of course I brought it up. It's the most pressing issue. It's the preeminent moral issue facing America.
So
is the fact that we murder babies. There's really nothing worse that we do, unfortunately.
Like that the right is more obsessed with the abortion than the left is.
I don't speak for, I'm me. I don't speak for anybody.
Okay, but
you know
that's fine.
I'm asking you.
But you just said that the left categorically.
I wish everybody on the right was as anti-abortion. I don't know what it is. I think we're kind of split. I think it's like 50-50, but I'm not in the sphere. All I'm saying, like,
what should the punishment be?
So weird about people who think like you. Like, I asked you what you think. Like, I can just say
I provided
you
what I thought. You didn't
like. No, you didn't though. Do you think it's right or wrong?
What?
As a leftist who worked at an abortion clinic for 7 years, I care way less about this than you do. J Money, you are like,
of course.
Like I have a million opinions
that systematically terminates life. Of course, you don't care about life.
Here's what I want to know, because talking about abortion and the morality of it is boring to me. First and foremost, okay, it's just flat out boring.
Of course it is, right? Let's just kill the baby.
No.
That's
not. No. Don't take me trying to.
People are insane.
No. Hold on.
To be honest,
hold on.
bro.
Let's be Let's be very clear here. Let's be very clear here that my lack of wanting to talk about this has nothing to do with my stance on it. Okay. What I am telling you is that I have been engaged with morality conversations about abortion literally since I've started on this platform 5 years ago.
Well, it's a preeminent issue facing America, dude. We murder a lot of babies.
Okay. So here's my thing. And this is what I really want to understand. You can have that moral stance, but the question, what is the biggest issue, is the legal matter of abortion. Okay. That's the bigger issue. You can sit there and say you're morally against it, but then, hey, I don't think that
Democrats think abortion is good, dude.
Okay, like, you're not. You're going off on tangents.
That was my very first question you dog asked was, as your 2 weeks as a Democrat, why do you think Democrats love abortion? 2 weeks, but anyways.
What was that?
You know what I'm saying? It's weird. Like, I don't know, man.
No, okay.
I think the left
I've already gave you my stance. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've already said that my biggest issue, I don't care about talking about the morality of things, because your morals are not going to be the same as my morals. And first of all, this is why I asked you. Do
you think morals matter when it comes to self-governance?
Chill out for a second. Okay. Hold on. This is why I asked you, where do you believe life begins? Because I am of the belief that if anybody, what's up, Mark? Yeah, you could jump in at any point, just hit exclamation point Discord. This is my issue. If you sit there and say that life begins at conception, all conversations about morality are off the table, because there's nothing that I can do to really pull you from position. Likewise, I'm
not asking you to convince me. I'm asking what you think.
And we're having a conversation. Likewise, if someone were to say that, hey, third-term abortions are, that I believe in third-term, then I would sit there and say, and then likewise. And if they say, let me be clear on that. They say third-term abortions, no bars held, I don't care, babies' heads popping out, which I have heard that on Twitch, freaking wild. There's no ways to pull those people back from that position. There's no conversations to be had. And so that's why when it comes to your stance, I don't care about the morality, because your morality is already on the one end of the spectrum. I'm not saying it's per se bad, to be clear. All I'm saying is that you're taking such an extreme stance.
Let's take morality out of it. Let's take morality out of it, right? And just talk scientifically. There's really no other line you can draw the biological beginning of life other than conception.
I don't want to get into this nitty gritty.
I know you don't want to talk into it. I'm just refuting the fact. You can also take the morality out of it. It's obviously morally wrong, but it's also biologically murder. All
I care about when you talk about abortion is the legality of it, because the legality is the biggest issue of all. Okay, because right now,
what are laws, if not based on morals, though, right? Like, why are there laws against murder? Because it's morally wrong. So the morals actually really do matter.
Yes,
it's
the morals matter to the
law,
sure, because then it forms the opinions of those who are creating the laws and those who put in place the people who are there. I get that.
But why is murder illegal? Why is murder not legal?
You have not answered my question, and this is getting extremely frustrating. What is the punishment that these people should face? Who should face the punishment? That is what I want to know.
I mean, I don't know, bro. If you make me a legislator, like you want me to spitball something, if it means something to you,
Sure.
Fucking punish the doctor, punish the mom. Like it's fucking murder.
What should
it's
be the
hiring a hitman to kill.
So okay, so
Like,
so you're saying
it's
should
the
it
same thing.
be just to be clear, when you're saying murder, just to be clear, are you saying that the woman should face potentially up to life in prison?
Listen, dude, I'm not a judge, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but that's what
honestly,
that's the biggest issue about abortion
listen,
right now.
here's
right?
the thing. I should say yes. I'm so desensitized myself to the continuous nature of abortion, as every American is, that I'm inclined to say no. But honestly, it's like if you logically follow it, you know, it's like, yeah, it really is the termination of a life, of the most innocent life. So, you know, it's like, but again, that's
So are you taking? Are you trying to
this
say that you're
conversation
taking?
started? I asked you about the morality, and now it's like you can't really say anything. So you're getting like
I'll tell
frustrated.
you if you want, to know my morality of it all.
My very first question, you dog ass, before I finish, was literally just, "What do you as a man think about this?" You know what I'm saying? Because that's what a conversation is.
I think the conversation, if like I had my wife come up to me and be like, hey, and she would never do this, and she was like, hey, I want to have an abortion, then we would have a conversation about it, see how she feels. And understand that this is a decision between both of us. I personally am not a big fan of it just because of a lot of the trauma it can cause and things like that. I want to say this very clearly, though, that I'm not opposed to other people. I think it is a very personal decision. I think that the way that we had with Roe v. Wade, I think that when that was in place was perfectly fine. I don't think that I'm certainly not in favor of the way that Texas has their laws. And so that's the thing, is that how I see the world, I understand that my worldview is not the same as your worldview. Just like you believe life begins at conception, I may not believe that. The neighbor may not believe that. And so we all have to come up with a general consensus for society with where should that line be drawn. And I don't believe sitting there drawing the line at conception and saying anything done after this is a crime. That I have an issue with. What's up, Frames? I brought in all the old people, all the old school people. What's up? Welcome down, Jake.
Well, to be clear, you just asked me to put a punishment to it. I simply just said I believe abortion is wrong. And again, the whole thing started because I just think the leftist position on abortion, the Democrat position, excuse me, Sir Wesley, I think it's strange. I think it's strange how they are just outright proponents of it, and they think it is some sort of inherent moral good. That's the vibe I get from Democrats, and I think that's strange at surface level, outright fucking demonic, dude. That shit is crazy.
I think when you ask a majority of Americans and you ask probably a majority of leftists, I don't know about Wes's position here, so I don't want to speak for Wes. So Wes, if you want to jump in at any point in this, feel free to. I don't think you would find anybody that says a third term abortion for convenience sake with the baby's head popping out would be okay with that for convenience sake. And most I would believe most Americans would say that. In fact, a majority of the abortions that are performed, as you would probably agree, happen within the first trimester. Now, your moral view is that life begins at conception, so anything thereafter is murder. So that I understand that, and I know that.
I think it's a pretty defensible biological view, though, as well. I think you could be a strict materialist, not believe in God, not believe in morals, think nothing about anything, and just look at the sperm and the ovum and the zygote and say the zygote's alive and the sperm and the ovum.
And I'm not
biological matter.
Yeah, and
I think it's a very
I respect that. I don't want to stay on this topic. I don't want to make this entire stream about abortion because it is boring. Hold on one second. I think we got looks like, who is this? Okay.
Am I muted?
Who's muted?
Okay, no, it's Mark. It's DZ.
Oh, DZ, what's up, buddy?
Can I just ask a couple of questions on just a challenge? Yeah. So, all right. So, like, if you think that at conception, that that's when there's a baby, and I don't think that's a crazy view. When there's like a miscarriage, like if your wife had a miscarriage, would you have a funeral? Would you get a plot and a tombstone? And
oh god,
I don't know, man. I've known people who have done that.
Hey Wes, do me a favor. Can you go down and vet those two for me if you have a
named
chance?
their baby that they buried, unfortunately.
Because I don't recognize those people.
I hope I'm never in that position.
They have they get a priest out, and they have an entire funeral procession, something that they would have with an actual baby.
I mean, why do we care if it's alive, right? Like, there's plenty of things that are alive that we don't really give moral value to, like, you know,
Sure, but
trees that are
people always
alive.
It's a live human. That's the point,
right.
right?
People say it's
Because
a
it comes
baby,
down.
Human,
treat it
sure.
differently than a baby.
Well, here's the thing too. I can show you 100
Why do
different
they always
zygotes.
treat it differently?
I can show you 100 different fetuses of 100 different animals, but one of them is going to be a human, like a human. So what is the differentiating factor? It's not all the same meaningless biological matter. One is a human.
All right, so
Well, yeah,
so say the
but I
burning
guess the
building.
implication of that belief,
There's
right,
like
is that there'd be no. What if we have, you know,
That's a
someone like
fact.
me and you, we have
Those are
a
biologically
person, right? And we
differentiated, bro.
just sure, absolutely, it's biologically differentiated. So let's have a human mind, right? We have a mind that has the same subjective experience that me and you have, and let's biologically differentiate.
I just want to mention this because this is my stream. I really don't want to get into the conversation about like what is life, what isn't life, only because like it is very much like a very lengthy conversation and everything else. But we can certainly talk about anything else to do with the left. I'm all game. But there.
I'm 100% conceding here that this is life. I'm just saying, like, clearly this is not what makes a moral subject. Like, we could have a human experience, a human mind, and change the DNA a little bit to make it no longer a human. Would you be okay with killing that or torturing that even? Like,
I don't know, dude. I think all that stuff is kind of crazy. Just editing our genome at all. I think that's kind of that's just treading murky waters, I think.
So
well, your position was that human is what matters, and I just created a situation where we have a
I think
mind.
human life is more valuable than any other animal, infinitely so, for sure. If that answers your question.
So
well, it can be
and so
more
does
valuable.
everybody, right? If we murder somebody, that's way worse than killing anything, from a bug to a cow to anything, right? Like it's something we all inherently believe, whether we're going to admit it or not. The human life is infinitely more valuable than any other thing on Earth.
All right, so I'm gonna let you get the last word.
Yeah, like a baby. I don't believe that they think.
Okay, so I want to move this conversation along. What was your other issue that you had with the left, J Money? What was your issue with that?
I don't.
Because I'm all game talking about, like, I could tell you like my stances on some of the nominations because that's kind of what the stream was about. Let me ask you, what do you think about the nominations so far that he's put in place?
Wait. Can I jump in?
Oh, yeah,
here?
go
Because
ahead.
actually, one of the people in the waiting room really wanted to talk about this.
Okay, let's bring them in. Let's talk about them. Yeah. That's
yeah,
fine.
we've got Jake and we've got Karmasa. I'm not sure if I'm saying those right.
That's okay.
Here they come.
All right, cool. Appreciate you guys. I appreciate you too, Wes, for doing that. All right, we'll continue this conversation just a little bit longer. I don't want to go too long. I say no more than like 15, 20 minutes at the most. But go ahead. I'll let Karmasa, I hope I'm saying that right. Go ahead and say what you wanted to say, and then we'll go to Jake next.
Yeah. We were just talking in a Discord call. We were in a Discord call together, and we were disagreeing a little bit, civilly, but disagreeing with some of the points being brought up here, and then with each other a little bit. And I think we wanted to bring them both to your attention. Like, we were talking about, I don't know, we heard the abortion conversation, and that's one thing, but I know you said you wanted to move on. So we were getting into other stuff regarding, like, more civil matters, just less moral and ethical debates. Like, I guess stuff about, like, whether you can call yourself a leftist in some senses, like, not you specifically, but whether you believe in God or, I guess a lot of moral debates that can spiral into more factual debates, if that makes sense. So, like, we were debating among ourselves whether leftism can be considered like just being democratic, or just being a Democrat, or just being libertarian, or where the lines are drawn with that. And we heard some people coming on saying they were leftists, and we didn't necessarily agree with that. And I know Jake had some points to make.
Yeah, go ahead, Jake. Go ahead. What you got?
I mainly, of course, what Birdie Bird or Karma's Cat said. I think that mainly is the structure of what we were talking about. But I personally would love to hear your opinions on I saw this article earlier alleging that Trump is a Jew. I just was wondering if you had any thoughts on that.
Why?
I just think it's interesting given what he said in the past.
Why is this any bit relevant?
No, I just think it's interesting. We don't have to talk about it. It's just something that's relevant to me personally.
Dare I ask, why is it relevant to you personally?
Oh, just like Jews ruling the world and shit. I just don't know if we should have our president like.
All right. So
wow.
Yeah, that's there we go. That went south real quick.
So he lied to me in the waiting room. I apologize about that.
I
way to go, Wes. You failed your job. You were supposed to vet him, and you failed.
He sounded like a reasonable person, but my background check didn't go through in time. I apologize. I'll try not to let it happen again.
All right, Wes. I'll deduct it from your pay, okay? But don't worry, I'll take it from the other workers. All right. No, Karma's.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, how come the right, who is a lot of them are Christian, why would they elect someone who is obviously completely opposite of that?
Yeah, it's really interesting.
In Trump?
Yeah, in Trump.
Yeah.
Who do you think embodies Christ more, Trump or Kamala?
Kamala.
Neither.
I would say Kamala.
Trump's on record like making comments to a 10-year-old girl about like how he's gonna date her in 10 years.
I mean, listen, they're both probably morally not the best people.
Also,
okay, but
when it comes to this election, there's no difference. They're worlds apart, dude. In terms of if you are a Christian, whether or not Trump is the perfect Christian, the effect.
Perfect Christian, like
you know what I'm saying?
I think he's broken all 10 of the 10 Commandments. So.
I mean, you can definitely be Christian without what's it called? Necessarily adhering to all the commandments, or I guess things that people would generally.
The issue I have is that even like my issue with Trump has more to do with the fact that a lot of the actions that have taken place since when he was running for president, for example, when there was people sitting down praying over him. There is a very famous story in the Bible that refers to the Sadducees and the Pharisees and how they would get up on in the middle of the town square and essentially just preach the gospel out loud and say, look at me, right? And that is something that I think that we would look at and say, Trump, if he were a Christian, he would know some of these basic tenets of Christianity and say, hey, I'm all cool with you guys praying for me, but this public displaying of prayer is kind of where it's becoming more political than it is about religious, right? It's more of saying, hey, look at me, look how I'm praying for him. And then there's also
it's political because Democrats hate Christ.
No,
that's the moral compass of take the 10 Commandments and invert them, and you have the Democratic moral compass.
That has nothing to do with it. It has
if
nothing
you really
to do
want to
with
get to the meat and potatoes, of course it does. What are you talking about? They think everything that's not white, male, and Christian is good inherently.
Can I just say that you reducing everything to Democrats think that abortion should be legal, therefore Democrats love abortion, and Democrats don't think you should twist the Bible for political purposes into Democrats hate Christ is extremely reductive, and that's why Doghouse doesn't want to have that conversation.
Exactly. No, you're stringing everything I said together and thinking like it's all one sentence.
No,
it's I don't think Democrats. Hold on, let me answer. I don't think Democrats hate Christ just because of like what we talked about today. They tell us, dude. Is it not their position that basically anything that's not white, male, and Christian is inherently good? Are the left not constantly celebrating everything else?
Well, I'm a Democrat.
Well, I can tell. Oh, wait. I can tell. Like.
I thought this was like well known. Yeah, I don't know. I must be living in a different world, or maybe I'm just the only one here not indoctrinated, bro.
Indoctrinated? I'm not.
My own eyes.
If anything, if there's any religion, look, if you want me to go down this route, I'll go down this route.
I know, dude. I'm a Christian. I was fooled as a kid.
Okay, if there's any religion that I have seen that indoctrinates people, and this is like, I want to be very clear, I'm still a Christian. Okay, I have seen private Christian schools be terrible when it comes to indoctrination. And then let's keep in mind what Donald Trump wants. Donald Trump wants prayer back in school. Do you think he's going to allow Muslims to pray in school? No, he's talking about Christian prayer.
I hope not. This isn't a Muslim nation.
You don't think
America is not a Muslim nation?
So wait. Do you know?
Now they're gonna get mad.
No. There's no anger, but I think there has to be a space for like political, discussion, recourse. But I think
I'm just saying it's a reasonable position. Like America is not, nor has ever been a Muslim nation. So again, it's another one of these leftist different things. It's like let's just celebrate these different people because they're different. It's like I don't know, dude. I don't really buy it.
I guess
Sorry.
was it founded on Christian ideals then? I guess is that what you're getting at? Because there's no religion baked
It's
into any
founded
place.
on like Masonic ideals, if you really want to get into it. Like kind of like humanistic. You know, we say in the name of God, but the founding fathers are pretty much all Masons.
I'm
It's very like
curious real quick.
libertarian rather than Christian.
J Money, I'm not really interested in arguing any of the points you've made. I know Karmasa and I know Mark extremely well. I know DH very well. Nanfan, is there anything from the right that you would like to bring up? Because DH is running out of time here. We got maybe 5-10 minutes left.
We can go a little bit longer. I'm willing to I'm willing to get in trouble for you guys. No, we can continue to go a little bit longer. I'm perfectly fine with that. Because I know Nanfan, I've seen you around, man. I've been really wanting to have a good conversation with you as well. But yeah, it's been we're all over the place. To be clear, J Money came in and he just took it and just like took the tracks and derailed it. But what the topic of today's show was more so centered around, I'm someone who likes to really keep our conversations centered around current events. And one of the biggest ones that we've seen so far, if you want to get into this, I would rather end on this note than on.
Wow.
I mean, it's better than him saying something else. Look, I've seen some pretty wild things. You know what? I would rather see that. What a way. Okay, that's new. I have not seen that happen. Wes, we're gonna have to change those permissions. Anyways, I want to talk about current events. What do y'all guys think about what happened with the RFK Jr. becoming the Secretary of Human Health and Human Services?
Trump surrounds himself with a lot of lunatics. I don't know what it's nothing new.
I've seen some things going around where they're talking about like, oh, like he's not going to have an influence on the FDA. I just think that's flat out false. J Money, where do you stand on RFK Jr. and that?
I don't know much about him, but I think most of Trump's picks are going to be a lot better this time than they were last time. But from what I hear about RFK, I like him.
What do you like about RFK Jr., like specifically?
He seems to actually give a shit about America and Americans. That really seems to be.
That's all it takes to be the secretary,
Trump.
bro?
I think that's all. Yeah, I do. I think at this point in Washington, D.C., people who love America, I think that's all it fucking takes, dude. Because there's just, kind of den of vipers down there.
So you don't think there should be like any kind of like qualifications, like a degree?
He's probably qualified. The man's a Kennedy. I'm saying I'm not much aware of.
He's probably qualified. What?
You know what I'm saying?
You know,
I came in just to talk to you.
You do know he has a law degree. He's not like a doctor or anything of that nature, but yet he's in charge of health and human services.
Well, what degree do you have that can like make you deem all these presidential picks?
I don't need a degree to see that if someone, if all that the qualifications are is that a dude is jacked and loves America and thus he should be in charge of health and human services. My mind is just gone. Okay, that's not what makes a good health and human services.
Like the dude literally caught brain worms from eating the wrong kinds of meat. The dude literally went to Samoa and got hundreds of kids killed because he started a fucking new epidemic there. Like, because of his anti-vax views. Like, of all people, health and human services, really?
I mean, and to be clear, like if we're looking at qualifications, I said this earlier on in the stream before everybody came in here, and anyways, his qualifications are more suited for the EPA than the Health and Human Services, which is a very interesting pick to me. Why Donald Trump would throw him into Health and Human Services, and I also
it's because he's going to disband the EPA.
Yeah, he's gonna get rid of every single one of his cronies that are being put into these departments. He's planning on having them completely dismantle these entire organizations.
The FBI too.
That's not concerning to anybody. Like we talk about like criminals coming across our border. How are they going to be investigated when the FBI has nothing left?
The FBI, yeah.
But
that I don't know, man.
Just to like fire anyone who's not loyal to him as well, like.
And let's keep in mind, I want to see what your opinion is, and I know you're kind of like right now it's a 4v1. Okay, so like you're completely like it's fine. I want to mention this. I didn't get to say this, and I want to end on this note as well. What's up, Socrates? Everybody's coming in now. Here's the thing. Have you heard about the rumor? And it looks like it's becoming more than just a rumor. It looks like a very real possibility that Marco Rubio, now having taken a nomination for Secretary of State, now taking that position, opens up the senatorial seat. Do you know who's vying to take in that position? Do you know who that is?
I hope it's Alex Jones.
Laura Trump. Laura Trump is now going to take Marco Rubio's senator seat. If that's not nepotism, I don't know what is. That is the definition of nepotism. How is that not a bad thing?
I don't know, man. I think Nancy Pelosi's really good at trading stocks, though. And I think leftists are morally correct. And I think the FBI definitely cares about America. And we should give more money to the FBI.
Last thing I'll say, last thing I want to ask is this.
You don't believe this shit, Doghouse. We're gonna be here for. Listen, I came here because I know you. Okay, I don't give a fuck about this gay Twitch shit. You don't even believe this shit, and we're gonna be waiting for you when you come to your senses, dude. This is so dumb, dude. All this lefty shit is just dumb, dude. That's the long and the short of it.
I'm gonna go into.
It doesn't have to be just abortion. Tonight it was abortion. Maybe tomorrow night it'll be another thing.
Maybe
You're
we
welcome
can talk
for making your stream absolutely popping, because this shit wouldn't have been dead if I hadn't hop on here and threw it down a little bit. But I do have to bounce. So
all right, I appreciate
much
you,
love,
buddy.
boys. But I will be around, and
buddy.
GG's, peace.
All right, take care. All right, so now we got some. Now that we got our entertainment done for the night, can we have some serious conversation?
God, seriously, that was so exhausting.
Yeah, no, I felt like I was on TikTok again. I swear, I don't know if that's where J Money came from or not. And to be honest with you, I don't even know who he is. He says he knows me. I don't know. But that's okay. So, I think I might know because it's been a hot minute. But anyways, so I've been wanting to have a conversation with you for a while. God, what my freaking Discord won't tell me who everybody is. So forgive me because I can't see.
It's non-fun.
Non-fun. Thank you. I was blanking, and I literally only see the first letter, and it's a setting I got to change.
Yeah, the streamer mode. Yeah.
So what are your stances on these positions, man? Because this is real. Like now I can have an actual, genuine, sincere conversation. Like this is something that really bothers me. Is like looking at these positions. It doesn't feel like his advisors are the ones that are making these decisions. It feels like it's completely Donald Trump making these decisions. And I'm just at this moment waiting to see that Tucker Carlson be the press secretary. Or I kind of threw this out on Twitter. Maybe Peter Doocy. I would not be surprised with a Peter Doocy press secretary, by the way.
Yeah, it's I mean, I think Trump wants people who aren't gonna stand up to him and are gonna be mostly loyal to him. We'll see if the Senate actually fucking confirms these dumbasses. But yeah, Matt Gaetz got to escape his the report that was gonna come out of him. Matt Gaetz, by the way, also like technically is a lawyer, but it's not really qualified to be Attorney General of the United States. He doesn't really have the relevant experience to be in that high of a position.
Right. It's insane. I mean, when we look at, and I'll kind of start wrapping things up a little bit here. It's just wild to me. And to see Laura Trump potentially taking the seat, it's like, how do people, when will MAGA, and this goes back to the core issue, when will MAGA wake up and realize just how bad this is? We have, for example, Donald Trump wanting to implement tariffs immediately. We already see companies preparing for these tariff hikes with price increases. We already see Donald Trump putting in place certain key figures that he's trying to get pushed through for nominations prior to him taking office through recess nominations. He's trying to do that so that when he gets in on day one, he can start mass deportations. Like, this isn't me being... I talked to Wes about this. I have no problem telling people this, okay? I had to ask Wes. I'm like, Wes, am I going far left on this? Or is the right just going as far right as they can? And I
So
kind
the
of,
right is
yeah, go ahead.
destroying your country. Like I'm not an American. I'm a Canadian.
Sure.
But like he's got control of all three branches of government, right?
Right.
Like the Supreme Court is stacked with this stuff, right? He's
Yeah.
got control of like the Senate, right?
Yeah.
And he's putting in Section F so that he can fire everyone. Like every position is stacked with a loyalist who won't stand up and who's unqualified. But if people were driven by data, if people were driven by like actual results, then they wouldn't pick this guy. They're not. They're just driven by story.
Yeah.
You can like, you can give them the whole spiel on, why the cost of good is so high. You can like go into like transport and like the Strait of Hormuz and like all these other like geopolitical factors that are like outside of anybody's kind of control for largely. But like they're gonna just like their eyes are gonna glaze over and they're like, well, the real reason is because they don't care about America. And it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know how you argue with that, right? Like
Exactly.
I
That's
think you need, I don't know, Triple H for president on the on the left side. I think they'd go for that.
this is
Like-
what I think that like MAGA is gonna have buyer's remorse. I think my issue is it's gonna be too late by the time that happens. And I think that
I think the country's gonna have to be on fire. Like I think like major things, and then it'd have to be pinned back to Trump. And even then, they wouldn't believe it. Like you can
Right.
have every news outlet in the world like explaining what's happening, and they're going to be like, no, they're all against us. Donald Trump said they'd all be against us, and look, it came through. Like I don't know how you argue with it
you can't.
because
That's
it's
the
not
issue.
logical.
Yeah.
You just need like a better story.
I'll tell you the one way
You
you,
have to be
I'll-
for America.
yeah, I'll tell everybody the way that you can combat these narratives is just read up on the facts. 9 times out of 10, that is what's guiding me. Okay. As I go through, I look this up, I say, okay, and I'll be honest with you, it's just like earlier when we were talking about RFK Jr. in the HHS. That I don't need to research. Why? Because it's pretty much in your face that this man is not qualified for this position by any metric. In fact, he's far more qualified for the EPA. So the way you combat these narratives is with facts. Why? Why do you believe this? Why are you, what? And tonight was not a great night for me to be sharp on my mind right now. I'm like, I've been up since almost 4 or 5 o'clock this morning. I was like, I'm going to stream as soon as I get home. I almost didn't stream. I just wanted to stream because I was like, I need to stream. I haven't streamed in like almost a week. So we're going to do more things. I'm going to start wrapping up you guys. But I appreciate every one of you guys, Non-Fron and DZ. I definitely want to have some more conversations with you guys, and we're going to do more open call-in soon. Tomorrow we're going to definitely stream at 6:30 or 7 o'clock and be a little bit earlier than just now where we're like streaming at 9:43. But I appreciate you guys coming in. I'm going to end talking with you guys, and I'm going to continue talking stream for just a little bit. Okay. All right, guys.
All right. Yeah.
Later, guys. All right. Let me go ahead and hide that. So yeah, guys, this is my big thing is when we get into these conversations, you have to combat them with facts. That's just how this works. Okay. And that's just the way you're going to work. I want to apologize for being a little bit kind of loop right now. I've been running all across the place. I went to work this morning, then I had to go to a funeral, and then I ended up going to my parents' house afterwards. And then now I'm back here streaming. It has been one hell of a day. We'll be better tomorrow. We're going to talk some more about some of the more recent news and be way more organized and stuff. So we're going to stream tomorrow, Friday, at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we will start up again on Monday at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. For anyone who's new, who hasn't who hasn't come in since we started doing the Political Compass is no more. We are just doing call-ins, kind of free ball on it, see how things go. You can find me on TikTok, is where I am doing it right here. Do please go to TikTok. I am doing amazing on TikTok. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed and you're on YouTube. Let's do it. Let's get it going. But anyways, I appreciate every one of you guys that tuned in. Interesting night, to say the least.